Hey, Michael Fraker. Twin Peak opening theme song vibes? Uh, oh, I wish. Oh, if I could do a Twin Peaks themed role-playing game video or channel full of videos, I absolutely would. Oh, Derek, I like it. All those dice rolls lost like tears in the rain. Yes, I have seen parties TPK on the shoulders of Orion. And pour a little out for he passed away, Rutger Hauer, I think in the last couple of years. So pour a little out for him. All right, here we are. Blade Runner, the role playing game, Free League. They were kind enough to send me this and actually give me one at PAX, which I'm going to give away give away to patrons and channel members. I haven't actually posted it in the patron or channel member areas. I probably will. I'll probably do it after the holidays and that madness. I got this. I also have, which I might do in a separate video. We'll see. We'll see how far we get. Also got the screen, which is still in the plastic, so it's glaring. Apologies for the glares. Got the screen. Got the also the big book. Might do those separately. We'll see how far we get today. For now, hey, Krister, who is now the first. Krister, you are officially the first Hexed Press channel chat moderator. So despair at the power that he now holds over you all, over us all. All right, we're into the box. Slide. I'm just going to do that. Sometimes I'm always worried about when I slip the boxes in there because there's that weird glue. Oh, it's not really glue. The weird force that seems to hold the boxes together more this way than the other way. At least that's what I find. Good old games catalog here. I get to see everything on offer. All that great stuff. Put that aside. Got some cards. We'll open those up. Hey, Ian. Awesome. One picked up the One Ring starter box. Yeah, that's a nice one too. They're all nice. I mean, the thing is, and I hate to kind of toot the horn of Free League because they sent me stuff, so I don't feel like, oh, here goes Todd shilling for people that send him stuff. But I mean, they do put out nice stuff. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. They put out nice things. The Dave's gonna have this on while he gets some work done. Well, hey, Dave, I appreciate choosing me as your background music or background distraction. Happy to oblige. Ian says they like everything Free League that they've seen so far. Yeah, I have too. I have too. They just put out good stuff. I mean, not really other way to pull it. Get some nice silica. Kids at home, don't eat the silica. So you get some nice dice. Got some numbers and some symbols. There's an eyeball. On the one you get, oh, look at that, the little unicorn. Is there another symbol on here? No, I think that's it. We get some more eyes, double eyes, single eyes, again with the unicorn. And we've got, let's see, we got a D6, a D12. What is that? Like 2D8? 2D8s, 2D10s, I guess 2D12s. So we get two of everything. 2D6, 2D12s, 2D8s, 2D10s. I guess the only thing missing, no D20s, no D4s. But nice box. Put those over to the side. Oh, here we go. Let's see if I can pick this out of here without. How can I do this? Come on. Oh, I always cringe. Can I pull that up? All right, here we go. The rules. So the big book, the core rules is, is this big. So you can see by comparison in the starter kit, we get a, see if I can hold this somewhat visible. I mean, it's obvious, right? Like any other starter kit, we're seeing that the, let's see, is that, can I get that under? There you go. Starter kit core. And then we get a case file, which I'm guessing is what they're calling an adventure campaign, maybe. Is called already called Electric Dreams. I remember seeing these at PAX. I just thought this was kind of cool. I'm gonna do this. Why am I? There we go. Let me take this box out of the way now. Goodbye, box. I miss this kind of prop stuff. I'm glad that companies like Free League are kind of doing the physical props. If you're like me, or you knew somebody, maybe an older sibling, you just haven't heard of it. Back in the, I'm not going to call it the glory days of computer games, but there was a period of time in the 80s with computer games where they were putting out these just, I wish I preserved them all. I don't have any of them, and I just kick myself, not even for, eBay resale value, but just to have. I mean, these beautiful things. Ultima 4, you got a cloth map. I remember getting the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and you got all kinds of stuff in there, and all this kind of just physical prop material. I mean, including obviously instructions and directions and things like that. But they just gave you so much stuff. They really made it feel like, I don't know if an event is the right word, but a real kind of thing. And I miss that. But I think in a little bit, these kinds of physical things you get in these starter kits and these box sets, they kind of hit me in the same way. They hit in that nostalgia vibe for things. Now, okay, something to keep in mind here. Um, I don't know what's spoiler ridden. I'm not sure what I'm going to uncover that's going to be all of a sudden hit with a spoiler. So I'm just going to say right now, especially for this dossier, I'm going to be looking at spoilers. If you're wary of such things, and avert your gaze and ears for a little bit. Dave says it's almost like a board game, but it's still a role playing game. Yeah. Yep. So here we get it's like a little advert. Off world. A new life awaits you in the off world colonies. The chance to begin again in a golden land of opportunity and adventure. By the Shimago Dominguez Corporation, or Corp. Arcadia. Remember when every breath tasted like springtime, when you awoke every day to the whispers of the pines, to the honeyed essence of the blooms outside your window? Memories you never knew you had, now a reality, only on Arcadia. Now accepting settlements on a limited basis for qualified applicants. Heaven isn't a place you imagine. Heaven waits for you off world. That's handout R. So again, this could be spoilery. So I probably won't hit everything. This one, I feel like maybe the fact that you receive it as a spoiler, but it's just kind of a cool piece of art to kind of get you in the mood. I'm guessing it probably turns up maybe at a crime scene or something. You'll see that someone's, and I don't know anything about the story. This is just me guessing that maybe it's some kind of crime scene piece of evidence. Here we get a little poetry from William Blake, the Tiger, and also these are the kind of nice touches you probably can't tell from the paper, but it has, so it feels like it feels like this could be cut out from a book. I mean, obviously we know it's not. It's not serrated or anything on here that would indicate that it was torn or even cut with a scissors. Clearly it's just a handout, but they kind of got a little bit of feel, and then of course they've done the work with the little bit of the texturing on the paper. That's just nice. Hey, howdy, heroes. You've been waiting for a long time. Well, it is here. I know people have been delivered it because I saw on somebody's YouTube video, like, oh, I got it, which was kind of my prompt to, like, you know what, I should probably do this now. Here we get another one. This is showing where it has been torn out. Another bit of William Blake. I'm not going to read it, but it's got that same paper texture. We've got some, looks like these some kind of profiles. They're kind of written as police records. These are clearly must be replicants because they see, yep, they're Nexus, and they have incept dates and functions. We get, let's see, so we get Lee. Oh, this is something else. Some orders. Here's another one. Styles, and these have kind of a smooth. I mean, you could tell maybe from the glare, it's a glossier piece of paper. Lilith Tyrell. There's another Lee with some other stuff about her. This is another, let's see, Sandor. Here's one of those photographs, where you can go enhance, enhance, left, enhance, and then greetings from Hollywood, the movie capital of the world. It's a postcard type. See, this is how so they all have handouts. So you can see right there, they've got handout indications, so you know it's a handout, and you know which one it is. So I'm still ready to get referenced in the material, putting those back in the dossier. And I like the fact that they gave you this physical dossier, which you could give to the party. You could keep it separate from your materials, and you could a situation could come up where you could, as they're getting these, however these are coming up in the game, and they're getting the handouts, they can keep them in the dossier, which you can either some player can hold, or you could keep it, just keep it in for yourself in game, and just bring it out the sessions. But again, it's just kind of nice, and it's got the stamping. My cat just sneezed in the background. Bless you there, Bruce. My cat is just off screen. Here we get another, the Independent Sentinel. Nexus 9 replicant launch, a resounding success. Let me get this. Got a little above and below the fold. Only one page, though. Still, cool. Throw that back in the dossier. Let's see. All the news that's fit to kill for May 2037. Synth, magazine of the replicant industry. Oh, here we get another, maybe a, let's see, some kind of surveillance photograph. That might be a little bit of an enhanced to get, I'm guessing, the license, if you will, information. Ooh, this one might be a photo of the crime scene, or just a representation of thereof. This is another photo or representation. And another one. And then we get some more. Oh, these are characters. So these are your pre-gens. So this one's called Willem Novak. Human archetype, kind of like their class, is an inspector. Their abilities, broken down to strength, agility, intelligence, and empathy. He scores a C, a B, a C, and a C. His skills are close combat, firearms, stealth, observation, connections, and insight. Specialties are he's hardened, married to the job, and smokes. That should be my specialty, smoking. I don't know what I would smoke. It's a swig of watered down apple cider for the working man. Signature item is an old wedding ring. I'll just read his, because why not? A relic from the old days and old ways pre-prohibition. You quit the force after the blackout brought out the worst in this city. You only returned after a not-so-subtle reminder from Commander Bryant that you had debts to pay, cash and karmic alike. It's surreal running alongside reps now, but you've looked into enough eyes to know there's more in these new models than they get credit for. You're not like these kids, though. They love their toys, but they don't know what it's like to live in fear of them or the damage they can do. Only detectives from your era had the patience to tweak a VK until it sees and smells the world better than you do. You sure as hell trust that brick more than these snots. Funny how only the reps make sense to you now. At least they know they're one screw up away from a bullet, same as the rest of us. It very much seems like a Deckard type, which is cool. Key memory, you were just a kid, really, a rookie in the Rep Detect unit. Those were the violent days after the killing of Eldon Terrell before the blackout. You were sent to stake out a Terrell office building because of rumors that rebel reps might hit it, and they did. You never stood a chance. You survived, but you've had a hard time looking any rep in the eye ever since. And then the key relationship is your previous partner, Remy Krumpak, is a fellow Blade Runner and an old timer like you, but as crooked as they come. And he knows that you know. Watch your back with him. Ba-dum-bum-bum. Heroes asked, they're curious how compatible this is to Alien. I have not read Alien yet. Of course, I haven't read Blade Runner yet. So I don't know. Yeah, they're all the Free League stuff are all based on that Year Zero chassis, and they'll add and change or use change different elements to suit the setting. I'm not sure. It would be interesting. It seems like that's not really a focus of Free League, the intercompatibility between them. I think sometimes that they'll have like a resource and they'll a certain resource that then gets customized in different games and then some mechanics around that. I wonder if you could do some work in there. Oh, Derek says not compatible with Alien, different dice mechanic. Yeah, I think I remember actually if you uh the Dave if you go back and you watch my interview I did about the Blade Runner that was from PAX, he did mention that the dice and Blade Runner work differently than some of the other games. So probably this one might actually be less able to be cross compatible with other ones and others because of the different dice mechanic, which we may not get into here, but I'll certainly when I would take a deeper look into the actual core rules, or maybe we'll see what's in the starter kit rules. We'll get into that a bit. We got some other. These are your pre-gens. Olsen Backer, who's an enforcer. We also get our. You can be a replicant. This one's name is Doxy. This replicant's name is Percival. Get a nice notepad with some case files and shift reports. Ooh, we get some what would we call schematics? The Jupiter moon bus. Or no, does this open up or anything? Nope. I guess spoiler alert, we'll be visiting the Hollywood sign to do something. Also the offices of Kill magazine. No grids on here, but we do get an indicator of kind of the size, but it's not the actual interior map does not have a grid. Apartment 16. All right, another apartment, different building. In the Honved building. Snake Pit. I mean, it seems already, I think you can get a glimpse that this starter or this first, what they call it, dossier, they're pulling a lot of stuff from the movie. Hey, Hunter, what's up? And I think that's good. I think, and it seems like the first Blade Runner Prime as opposed to 2049. Though I guess the time frame of this is more in the 2049 period. But you can just see the apartment. I mean, look back at the building, the exterior, maybe more. Let's see. Well, they're both buildings. When you look at the outsides, very much has that feel of the building in that Sebastian lives in Blade Runner. Hero says it's more based on the movies. Yeah, the book the book. What do androids dream of Electric Sheep by Philip K. Dick? Or the story I should say because it's more of a short story than the book. It's a great read. It is very different in many ways from the movies, and it's a little bit weirder. It definitely doesn't have as much of a Neo vibe. There's a lot of emphasis, or you get a lot more on the things like the animals, which also was interesting when I first read it, comparing it to the movie, where you get these glimpses into some of the stuff that clearly people read the book or read the story, and then they had this other idea and they kind of melded the two together. And some of the things that come across just in little bits in the movie, when you read the story, you understand so much more. So things like animals, that there are very, very few animals, live animals. It's extraordinarily rare. And I think there's even a subplot where the character Deckard, who is married in the books, is like in the story is like I think he's trying to buy, or he does at one point buy, or he can't buy a real animal for either their daughter, his wife, something like that. And it's a real issue. One, that they're not around, and that two, it's a very much of a class issue. That people who are very wealthy can afford real animals, other people can't, and that kind of comes up. So then in the story, things like the Voight Comp test, which has all these things that relate to if you listen to some of the questions, they have this empathy about animals thing. In the movie, it just seems like a weird thing, the turtle in the desert, whatever. But in the context of the story, where animals, their absence and everything plays a much larger part, this concept of having kind of empathy for this animal stuff really makes more sense. Like in the movie, it was just kind of an interesting oddity. Like, what does this mean? A turtle in the desert? Like, what is it trying to say? Like, why would that give me any emotional response at all, kind of thing. But in the story, that makes a whole lot more sense. Then it's like, oh, okay, I get it now because it's a much bigger thing that practically all the animals have gone extinct, have died out. So if you haven't read the book, I would say read it, but be prepared for it to be in tone and in many ways fairly different than the movie. And I love the original movie. And I don't so much love the director's take on it and the director's cut with the hey, he's really a replicant in disguise kind of thing, but I do love the movie. We get another larger map here. Broadcasting agency says it takes place before 2049. Okay, good to know. Anemoid Row. Yeah, the story is very good. The Philip K. Dick story. I always say, go back and read it. You could probably find it. I'm sure there are free versions online. It's not even super long. You could read it in a little bit. So this is, I'm not going to pull this out, but this is a big map we get of, well, maybe I'll unfold it a little bit. So we're going to be in LA. You can see a big map. It's kind of cool. I kind of like how the just the style of it with the it's just sort of lights. It feels like a night map, but just the highway and the major roads are kind of the brighter lights, and you just have marked on the map these different areas of interest, I suppose, to go to. Doesn't have any sense of how large an area it is, but it probably doesn't matter because in the Blade Runner world, you're probably not doing a lot of running around on foot. You're in some kind of, I'm guessing, bike, flying car, that bus thing we saw earlier. Catching Agent says that the game is more about questioning what humanity is and solving mysteries is a bit of a background. It's not your typical futuristic game. That's cool. So here's the case file for Electric Dreams. But before we get in there, let's take a look. Well, actually, let's look at the cards first. How are we on time? Doing good on time. All right. Stochastic Agency, have you played any Blade Runner yet, or are you just talking from reading? Hold on, sorry, it might take me a minute. Ooh. Do I need to bite this? Yes, I do. All right. And this, just in terms of if we're counting or we're interested in sort of the size of this seems like I haven't counted out, and I don't know about card quality and thickness is at least a 52, I would guess, probably even larger. Feels like it's thicker than your average deck. So a lot of cards in there. I'm guessing of different types of things, not single. Oh, okay. They had a single one. How'd the one shot go? Some of these are, let's see. So it looks like we have some different types. Some of these are kind of sticking together a little bit. Well, let's just let me just put that down first of all. All right. So we have aerial chase obstacles. I'm guessing this is like kind of like your random events. If you're in an aerial chase, maybe use these cards. They're nice thick cards. Kind of sort of a nice finish to them, but they are a little bit sticky right now, so they're kind of, I'm guessing through use they will become less sticky. So we have aerial obstacle cards, ground chase obstacle cards, foot chase obstacles. I feel like that's a good thing to have. Even if you're playing just a fantasy game, have some kind of things you can flip over to give some twists in case of chases. And we have initiative cards. Let's see. Stochastic Agency says that the chase mechanic is solid. Cool, because I imagine there's probably a fair bit of chasing. So his one shot went a little bit messy. They tried to play it like a cyberpunk game. Were your players Stochastic Agency? Were they how knowledgeable were they with the Blade Runner universe and the earlier movies and the stories and stuff? So here we have, I'm guessing, random. So here's these ones they're calling mug shots. I'll just flip over a couple of them. So you might pull these out when you need them, since I'm guessing they'll probably be references to these since they're names. But there you go, good old Bob Gorski, Jelly Skylar, or Gel or Yelly or Yell, Iris. Oh, they're numbered. Oh, I see. I thought it was M and L for man and lady, but they're actually numbered. Taffy Lewis. So they've all got letters. So presumably they'll say in the book somewhere, reference Oh, I got lost. Hold on a minute. There we go. Sorry about that. So with this maneuver, this one kind of cool because if it succeeds, you get right to engaged. If you're far away, you can try to cut them off. I guess that's trying to take a shortcut, get around in front of them. Disadvantage if you're further than long range, but you can get right there. Seems kind of powerful for the pursuer. Advantage shoot, range combat, you attack. And then finally, other, which is you do something that isn't covered. So cool. Those are chase maneuvers. We have some ground chase obstacles, a dead end. Dead end ahead. If the prey has chosen to pursue, flee, hide, or block, the maneuver fails automatically because there's nowhere to go. Makes sense. I'll just do one or two more. Hollow ad. A huge hollow ad for a digital companion reaches for the vehicle and blocks their line of sight. Each driver must roll observation to stay on course. A failed roll means the maneuver for the round fails automatically. So we've seen it in the movies where some ginormous sign is comes down and seems to burn your retinas with brightness. Well, they're simulating that. Oh, Stochastic Agency says that their one shot was the party tracking down an old Nexus 6. Cool. And then finally, one more. There's a sudden downpour, makes it difficult to see, and the pavement slippery. Because remember, these are all on foot. The pursue flee maneuver gets a disadvantage, but hide gets an advantage. And then there are some other ones. I will save those. And that's a ground chase. So we're in. Oh, this one's in vehicle. Sorry, you're not on foot, but you're on the ground. And then we do have some. If you're on foot, could have the dead end. Red light, the sidewalk crossing goes from green to red. Don't walk, and the traffic begins to move along the street. This gives an advantage to the hide maneuver, but a disadvantage to pursue, flee, and stand and shoot. And then finally, storefront. A storefront window blocks the way. If the prey has chosen to flee, hide, or block, they must first make a force roll to crash through the glass. If it fails, the maneuver is canceled and the prey suffers D3 points of damage. That's kind of like the Deckard, very Deckard-ish to be either throwing people or becoming thrown through glass, or I guess throwing yourself through glass. The casting agent said only one out of the four characters survived the attempted retirement. Well, that's what happens. That's why you need the best. So those are our cards. All good, all useful. And I do like these physical props. I mean, hopefully, I don't know. I have no idea. I haven't taken a poll of anybody to know if people are playing more and more in person, but these starter kits, especially these like these free league ones, really benefit from having that physical presence at the table, so you can really share on them. It's not quite the same as if you're playing it on Roll20 or whatever your VTT of choice. As Heroes points out, 250 batting average is respectable. Oh, but the surviving character did have their hand ripped off. Oof. All right, let's look at the rules. You know what I might do? Let me do this. I mean, I'll just to see them. So I'm going to go through this and I'll just look at the physical book. Then what I'm going to try to do is probably take a moment, try to switch over to the PDF, which I don't think I downloaded, but I think I still have the link. Do I still have it up? I will try to pull it up super fast to get to it. Because the other thing that Free League is very nice about is they send me the digital copies as well. So that I got this physical one to share, and then I got the Blade Runner starter kit. So I need the starter rules. I hadn't downloaded yet. Preparing. Glossy pages. Very nice feel. I'm kind of torn on the glossy pages. I mean, they're nice thick sheets, but I kind of like the matte. Not just for doing things like sharing on the stream, but just for I hate glare. You get a nice timeline. I'm just gonna really that's a nice image. Oh, that's a cool one. Is that from the book or maybe that's from the movie? I mean that if that's not right from Harrison Ford in the towards the end of Blade Runner, then definitely inspired by same. Lots of noise stuff there. then maybe I'll just flip through really quickly, flip through the other book. The PDF is downloaded, so I can switch over to that in a sec. Oh, you're going to do that to me, aren't you? All right, no, that's not what I want. You know, I don't like when browsers decide that they want to be the be all end all. So you want to open a PDF and it's thinking, oh, yeah, I'm going to be helpful. I'm just going to let you open it right here in the browser. No, I don't want you to. I don't want to be right in the browser. I want you to just let me open it in my PDF reader of choice, not you. Yes, the art and layout is very nice. Yep. And the only thing, and I'm not calling this like a bad thing, but if you're one of those people that likes to download digital things and then print them out on your home printer, this thing's gonna eat your lunch because it's all dark backgrounds. This will blow through your yearly ink allotment in a page. So but yeah, really cool. So this is all the stuff from the we get in the. I'm going through it fast, so I don't want to spoil anybody unnecessarily. You can see just lots of stuff, lots of that stuff, and an index. We'll see if I missed anything. All right. There might be a little bit of I'm gonna bring my wheel over here. So apologies as I okay, good, you're there. Now I can just view. Oh, it already is on 2-page view. All right. These are the rules that come with the starter kit. So I have the big rules. These are the actual starter kit rules. Yes, laser printing is a lot easier on the ink or toner than or on the kind of ink. I know they use toner than inkjet printers. And we get some nice stuff. We get chapter 1, Fiery the Angels Fell. I'm not gonna. I'm gonna try to. I'll probably go through the look at the dice mechanics maybe first and foremost, since that's going to be a real differentiator between this these rules and some Free League's other rules, and then I might pick and choose a little bit. Tears in the Rain, but I will read a little bit about this. Each player in this game, except one, takes the role of a Blade Runner in the LAPD Rep Detect unit. This is your player character. You decide what your character thinks and feels, what they say and do, but not what happens to them. 4 pre-generated player characters are included in this box starter set, which we saw earlier. The Blade Runner RPG Core rulebook includes complete rules for creating your own Blade Runner. It's your job as a player to portray your character and imagine yourself in their boots. No matter if they're a human or replicant, your character is a person with feelings and dreams just like yourself. Try to imagine, how would you react if you were in their place? What would you do? As a Blade Runner, you're expected to follow orders, but that doesn't mean you can't bend or even break the rules. Sometimes you'll have to. Player characters are always the protagonists of the story. The game is about you, your decisions, your story. We got that out of the way. I won't read the game runner bit, but I will read the. So we have a. No, I don't think I'll need to read the safety tools, but I like that they have them. So they have some safety tools there. We get a timeline so you can see where things are situated. We have a note about just some of the stuff we get here. So the Blade Runner RPGs is structured by case files, which are what we call the scenarios or adventures for this game. A case file presents a case for the Blade Runners to investigate, typically involving replicants in some way. The case file presents the backstory of the case, its main NPCs, main locations, the clues that can be found at each, and the suggested final confrontation. This boxed starter set includes a full-length case file called Electric Dreams. Only the game runner should read the booklet prior to play, or the story will be spoiled for everyone. And then they'll have more. The one thing it's interesting, I kind of wish, now that I'm thinking about it, is those mugshots. If they could have not had the names on the mugshots. So here you have a name. I was reading them out. This guy's name is Coco. And the reason why I say that is that would really let you use those cards for your own adventures without it's not that you still I mean, you can. It just, it just would allow you to kinda use them for different people without having to do that little bit where you have to say, "Here's his picture, but ignore the name because his name's not Coco," kinda thing. It'll be nice. Maybe they'll print it out or maybe someone else will put a whole bunch of, sort of Blade Runner-esque artwork for faces without names or anything that you can just use to drop into your homemade case files. Measuring time. When working a case file, you're on the clock. If you fail to make progress in time, a bad situation will tend to get even worse. Exactly how this plays out varies from case to case, but always assume you need to use time as effectively as possible. And then the main unit of time is called a shift. They have a time tracker, and then you use combat is in rounds. Here's another thing that's important. Splitting the party. In many tabletop RPGs, splitting the group of player characters is discouraged. The Blade Runner RPG is different. In this game, splitting the party is often the smart thing to do and sometimes even necessary. Case files will often have some form of timer counting down. And by splitting up, you can cover more ground. Scenes during downtime are generally personal and individual. To avoid long waiting times for characters not in the scene, the game runner should frequently cut between scenes. The Blade Runners can also use their handheld KIA units to communicate remotely and even share clues between each other. So you get some kind of walkie-talkie-ish kind of thing. The casting agency says cards, sleeves, and sharpies are your friend. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's just one of those things that if they had thought about it, it would have been like, oh, this would be really cool. Because yes, but yes, you can sleeve them with some kind of clear plastic, or you could probably make up your own custom kind of sleeve and then do that. But it would have been nice if they had. Again, I wouldn't even call it a nitpick. It's just like, oh, just thinking about it, that would have been kind of a cool way to make those mug shots applicable beyond the initial case file. So here we go. Rolling dice. The game, whether working the case or during downtime, is mainly a conversation between the players and the game runner, back and forth until a critical situation arises where the outcome is dramatic and uncertain. Then it's time to break out the dice. How this works is described in detail later, but here's the brief overview. Base dice. This game uses polyhedral dice. We saw those. From 6-sided to 12-sided. When attempting something difficult, a player typically rolls 2 dice, one for the character's relevant attribute and one for their skill. These 2 dice are called base dice. The more sides a base dice has, or base die has, the better. Success is any roll of 6 or higher on a base die is called a success, and rolling at least one success generally means that the attempt succeeds. A success is marked in these rules with the I symbol. A roll of 10 or higher on a die, only possible with a 10 or a 12, means 2 successes. The more eyes you roll, the more effective your action is. Advantage. Well, I think we get advantage. I'm not going to cover that. Pushing. If you fail a dice roll, you can push the roll. This means you get to re-roll the dice, but any one rolled when pushing will inflict stress or damage on you. I see. So if the result of any of those dice you push ends up being a 1, you get some penalty. And then numerical rolls. Sometimes dice are also rolled for their numerical value, not as base dice. In this case, just read the numerical value on the die and ignore any eyes. Sometimes the rules will ask you to roll a d3. That means rolling a d6 and dividing a result by 2, rounding up. Okay. Your Blade Runner. I'm going to skip over because I want to get more into the dice. But let's look at this quickly. Promotion points. By doing your job as a Blade Runner, solving cases, reporting evidence, apprehending replicants, etc., you gain promotion points. Case file 1, Electric Dreams, includes detailed guidelines for the game runner on how to hand them out. All right, great. Losing promotion points. The game runner can also take promotion points from you during the game if you are caught failing to perform your duties in some way or your case receives negative exposure. The game runner can take away promotion points immediately and doesn't need to wait until the end of the session. You can never go below 0 promotion points. Baseline tests. Replicant Blade Runners who hit 0 promotion points must take an immediate baseline test. That's definitely from the second movie. Using promotion points. Promotion points can be used for several different effects. You can learn a new specialty of your choice by spending a shift at the LAPD training grounds. That's cost 5. You can spend them and roll for the connection skill to request specialized gear from the LAPD or the use of department resources. They don't say how much that is, so maybe it's variable. And then once per case file, so once per adventure, You may roll for the connection skill to exchange one and only one promotion point for a Chinyen point, representing pushing for a pay raise. This can be done at any time. If the roll fails, a promotion point is lost and you do not gain a Chinyen point. Well, I don't know what Chinyen points are, but probably good. And then, as Stochastic Agency has just reminded me, we should look at humanity points. Humanity points are handed out by the game runner at the end of each session as well, but for performing acts of compassion or humanity. Just like with promotion points, this is specified by the case file. Also, you are always rewarded a humanity point if you, during the session, have used your key memory or interacted with your key relationship, failed a baseline test, only if you're a replicant. Mark your humanity points on your character sheet. Using humanity points. Humanity points are more limited use than promotion points. They're very important. You can use them to increase your skill levels. To increase a skill, one step costs a number of humanity points as indicated by the table below. A skill increase of one level can only take place during a shift of downtime. You can only increase a skill level one step at a time. And then you get the points. So from you starting off at D, you can go up to C for 5 points, from C to B, 10 points, and then B to A, 15 points. And I'm guessing you just can't get any higher than A, so don't try. And then for the replicants, the baseline tests. When a replicant hits 0 promotion points or when the case file specifies that they must make a baseline test to test their mental stability. This must be done immediately in the next shift at the LAPD. The baseline takes one shift to complete and does not count as downtime. Baseline tests are described in detail later on. If you succeed, you gain a promotion point immediately. If you fail, you gain a humanity point. You can also suffer penalties depending on how many tests you fail. So that's cool. So it's kind of it's a way for them to get either one thing or the other, but with some consequences if they go for the humanity points. I like it. Skills and specialties. Here we go. So this is I think of what I've heard is the biggest differentiator, which is that rolling of the dice. There are a total of 13 core skills in the game, and they are all described later in this chapter. 12 of the skills are connected to one of your core attributes: strength, agility, intelligence, or empathy. One skill is instead connected to the maneuverability attribute of your vehicle. When you perform an action, you first describe what your character does or says. Then you grab 2 dice, one for your skill level and another for the base attribute that is connected to the skill. These 2 dice are called your base dice. The type of base dice to roll depends on your levels in the skill and attribute. See the table to the right, then roll your 2 base dice together. So depending on how good your grade is at these things, you want A's, which are your D12s at the bottom of the chain, or D's that are D6. You cannot get an F, thankfully. The meaning of success. You have to roll 6s or higher, which we saw before. If you roll 2 or more I's with your base dice combined, you have achieved a critical success. You reach your stated goal, but also gain some additional bonus effect. In combat, critical successes can increase the damage done and inflict critical injuries. For other skills, the effect of a critical success is indicated by the case file. Some suggestions are: you act quickly, you act quietly, you help another character, you impress someone, or you discover something unexpected. And then rolling 3 or even more eyes generally only matters in combat, where each additional eye will increase the damage done by 1 point. So basically, when you're rolling skills, you only need those 2 eyes. Combat, get all the eyes you can. Then we heard earlier about pushing a roll. Pushing comes with a risk. Each time you push a roll, you immediately suffer 1 point of damage if you roll for strength or agility, or 1 point of stress if you roll for intelligence or empathy. For each one, the unicorns were 1s you rolled on your base dice, or I see, you get one of those penalties, or one of those points of either empathy or stress or damage for each one you rolled. Those unicorns. All dice count, even any unicorns in your additional roll. If this damage or stress makes you broken, this happens after the action is resolved, and then we read more about that later. What pushing means, how a push roll plays out in story terms, depends on what skill you're using. It can take the form of a great physical exertion, total mental focus, or emotional strain. Total concentration. Crackerjack timing, Jack. Are you ready? I was born ready. Bum, 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 bum. Sorry, but it's Big Trouble in Little China has entered my brain, as it often does. Unasked for. Okay, so I'm not going to go through all these different roles. All good. List of specialties. I don't think I need to go through all these, but you got stuff like bodyguard, cash flow, control, counselor, fast reflexes, hardened martial arts interrogator, smokes. It's funny with all these. My specialty can be a scientist. My specialty is a bodyguard. My specialty is smoking. But here the text is they'll kill you in the end, but once per shift, you can light them up and heal a point of stress. To heal a point of stress. That's cool. I think they could, you know what? Because granted, I'm guessing there's not going to be some mechanic for smokes too much and you get cancer and die. So I think I would almost just take that. I know look, it definitely fits the aesthetic, the kind of neo noir, the smoking, right? But I could see any kind of stress reliever, whether it's smoking, whether it's doing something like having it could be kind of anything, or maybe I should say, either I would just have this tendency to want to make it a little bit more like, hey, pick something that you do to relieve stress, and you can spend a moment doing that, and you'll heal some stress. Whether it's smoking, whether it's rolling around some metal balls in your hand, whether it's using a fidget spinner, whether it's whatever it is, because I think that's a cool little characterization. You're getting something for it, but you're also obviously losing out on something else you could have had to take it. But the smoking, that's pretty fun. Okay, agency mentions origami. Yeah, drinking, origami, chewing on something, chewing on a pencil, spinning a knife in your hand. There's any manner. So I would probably just want to broaden that out a bit. You could even, I like the example of smoking is great, but I think that I would just expand it. Let folks pick like one kind of quirk that they have. Combat and chases. We saw the chases. I'm not really going to go through these too much at this stage, but you can see all the stuff. We get critical injuries from crushing, from piercing, stress factors. I will read this on the handling death, which Stochastic Agency had to deal with in their one shot, fair amount of time. The death of a PC can be traumatic, but try not to see it as a failure. Instead, consider it a dramatic peak in your story and a moment to remember. Blade Runner laying down their life in the line of duty, or making the ultimate sacrifice to do the right thing. If you're in the middle of a case, the player of a killed PC can take over an appropriate NPC to play for the remainder of the case, or create a new PC immediately and have the replacement Blade Runner be introduced to the team right away. Whether it happens immediately or for the next case you play, introducing a new Blade Runner to the team can create interesting new dynamics in the group. And I think one thing I like about, or it's really just I guess a side effect of the way that the game you're stepping into is, because you're working for essentially a police force and you are on a case and you are assigned to a case. If you lose one of your party members, that gets reported back to HQ. HQ is going to send a replacement. So you don't have to worry about is the team going to adopt this person? Do they give this person a hard time and not let them join? Do they have to have that weird scene in the tavern or wherever where the player tries to basically ask themselves into the group? It's like, no, they're going to show up in the next scene or whatever after whatever amount of time you feel like is appropriate given everything that's happening. They're going to come and say, Bryant sent me, I'm your new blah blah blah, or Bryant sent me whatever, and that's it. Finito, done, accomplished. So it's just a nice way of having this kind of layout of the sort of, working for the LAPD kind of work. Does this kind of takes away a lot of that, the pressures they make up in certain games where you're kind of, the group is sort of creates itself and is charged with managing their own members. Stochastic Agency says that the death was due to the party approaching the game in a more combat oriented way, and that can often be a problem. And that's probably something, reading through all these things, you want to make sure. I mean, just having read this a little bit, I don't have a sense of what combat's supposed to be like. But if you remember Blade Runner, it's not full of a whole lot of combats. I mean, even in the first movie, the climactic scenes between Deckard and Roy's basically just beating the tar out of Deckard for the entire thing. I mean, and he's doing it in a way where he's toying with Deckard, and that's why Deckard's just being thrown right. So it's not like they were in some kind of firefight, extended firefight where they're trading blows. Like, no, he just pretty much just beats the tar out of Deckard for as much time, and then essentially he's dying because his clock is running out, and that's it. And even the other combat elements in that movie, Deckard is either either someone's running from him because he's got a gun or something, or they're beating him up and then he's trying to escape or something else happens. So your replicant, your players, maybe the replicants might feel a little bit more emboldened, but still, it all takes is a well placed shot as Zora, the replicant, the snake dancing replicant, found out. It doesn't still doesn't take much, even if you're a replicant, to kill you ultimately. So this is not your superhero. We're just going to trade blows until the end of time kind of game. Frederick asked, but how do you know if you're a replicant? I think these replicants know. I haven't seen anything. I'd be curious to know if they have an element or if there's going to be one of those replicant who doesn't know they're a replicant. But I think in terms of the system, Frederick, if you're playing as a replicant, at least you as the player know whether you want to play it as your replicant doesn't know. But I think there's the whole thing of doing the baseline test is at this point you're pretty much established you are a replicant if you are indeed a replicant. And I did not like at the end of the whole Ridley Scott, oh, Decker's really a Blade Runner, actual replicant. I hated that. I still hate it. Don't like it at all. But hey, if you want to do that, go for it. And in the story, he's definitely human. There's not even a question. He's not a replicant. Not to say that means that they couldn't have changed it in the movies, but just want to throw that out there. All right, so we have vehicle combat. I'm going to skip running towards the end. So I'm just going to basically I'm just showing you kind of you can see again the layout, the art, everything's beautiful. The kind of stuff we're getting, gear. I like how they're telling you. Oh, wait a minute, hold on. Here we go. The Voight Kampf machine. Yes. I love this design of this machine. I'm not sure how much sense it makes with the little bladder here or whatever that is, up and down and everything, but it's really cool. So this is the vocal recorder. They call this bladder thing the pneumograph and spectroscopic biosensor. I wonder if they came up with these themselves or if there was some of the stuff in the original movies where they that labeled all this stuff. Let's see this thing down here. What's it called? The spectroscopic calibration dials. All right. Over here we have the view screen. All right, easy enough. Number 7. This is an exegetic calibration dials. All right, these are cardiovascular calibration dials. These are autonomic calibration dials. What's this number 4? Exegetic monitor. The autonomic response monitor. Did I miss anything? Oh, the over here. Oh, I see. Because you can kind of zoom in on this unit at the top. So this is this, or this is this. Vocal recorder. Let's see, 11. I like they give you the extendable arm. I'm glad that they chose to give us because if they had not labeled this the extendable arm, I don't know what I would have thought it was. I really don't. And then we have the retinal scanner, and then there's also this optic calibration dial. Derek says that you can elect to have the game runner secretly roll to know if your character is a secret replicant. Oh, that's cool. I can dig that. Though I might not use it. And the only reason is I don't want to get into trying to ape the original movie. But there might be some intriguing stuff there. Maybe that said, I don't know. I probably need to think about, well, what could I do with that? Having a secret replicant. Like, what does it mean? It may in the context of the original movie, the secret replicant angle makes some sense, not in terms of Deckard. I don't think that makes any sense at all, but in terms of what's her name? Rachel. Like I get that this guy trying to do this stuff and that he's done that. Like that to me, I could see how that character, if she were a PC, would be a secret replicant. I'd really want to know how this is going to factor in because it means a lot for the world if you have secret replicants running around. It almost changes the game a bit, or then maybe, or at least for me, maybe I want to push into the conspiracy of the secret replicants. I don't know. Okay, so agency reminding me it poses questions about what it means to be human. I get that. But I don't think you need secret replicants to do that, or have people who don't know they're replicants be replicants because you have the replicants themselves who are doing that, which has that mechanic of the baseline tests and them sort of discovering humanity. So I don't know that we need that twist, if you will, to get there. But it's look, I'm not, in the right hands, I'm sure it can work really well. I'm just not sure I would need it. But that said, I could change my mind in a heartbeat. Get some nice weapons. The detective special spinner. Basic goods, and then bam, we're done. Look at that. So that was the Blade Runner box. Ooh, look at that. I've surpassed. There was a good one. So that was the Blade Runner starter kit. A lot of good stuff in there. The case file has lots of fun props to use. The case file, the case, the whatever what are they calling this? Well, I mean, I meant the case file dossier, I should say. Booklet seems really cool as well. And then the rule book seems to give you everything you need. At some point, probably on the other side of the holidays, I'll get into the core book. Stochastic Agency asks if I only have the core set. No. Sorry, the starter set. No, I have the core rules, and then hold on a minute. What did I do with it? I've also got the screen. So I will go over the screen and the core rules after the holidays. Probably. So we'll come back and we'll check in there. The art is phenomenal, says the Dave. Absolutely. Yeah, it's beautiful. I mean, it's beautiful. And I think, they put out amazing looking stuff. And I think they found a way to really take this chassis that they have, this year zero thing, and make it work for a lot of different systems. I haven't really felt like anyone's come out and said, or that I've seen it sort of just out and out fail yet. It kind of reminds me of those early days of D&D when TSR was taking D&D and tweaking it and then applying it to all kinds of different genres and settings with pretty good results. And they seem to have stumbled onto a similar formula. I do have digitally, I have the Alien books, so I could probably get in that too. But thanks again to Free League for letting me have this stuff. Like I said, I have an extra copy of the starter set that I will be giving away to channel members and Patreon supporters after the new year, I think. So look into that. I need to, something I'm going to try to do. I think one of my New Year's resolutions is try to get some one shots and do some stuff and do it on stream. Maybe I can coax some other creators that I'm friendly with into doing maybe one night a month or something like that and doing some one shots because I want to do it. I think people would like to see it. I'd like to just give me a chance to try some stuff. We'll see if I can make that work. Stochastic Agency says, looking at the rolling charts, you notice that the difference is only 2 to 3%, but it feels different. Yeah, I think I could see how that would work. Yeah, it looks really cool, and I would like to give it a shot. Hopefully, I'll get there. But at least you get to see inside the starter, this starter kit. I mean, really excellent work. I don't have anything against it. I think if you're interested in Blade Runner, and it seems like from what Stochastic Agency has said and kind of how they're hyping it up, it's a different kind of adventure than you might be used to. I think you really want to frame yourself in that kind of neo-noir, think of the movies and kind of how they work kind of state of mind. This isn't your run and gun, shadow run, D&D in cyberpunk kind of game. So it's going to be challenging in those ways, and it's going to be potentially challenging to get your players out of the mindset they might be in. But maybe your gaming group is up for it, or you might be up for it as a game runner, and then you can you try to recruit players who are into it. But I definitely would love to give it a shot because it seems really cool, and I'm glad I got a chance to look through it. Folks, if you give a thumbs up on your way out, that would be awesome. Otherwise, enjoy the rest of your day, night, whenever you end up watching or listening to this. I got to run, so game on, and I will talk to you later. Bye now.